Hey guys, Ghost here, Dave here with our first Destiny 2 Black Armory video. So those of you know, the expansion dropped today, and for those of you who don't know, I got my wisdom teeth out today. Anyways, I got one of the new weapons that is being overlooked because there's a lot of other really cool weapons, and that is the ringing nail. Yes, it's a 450 RPM auto rifle, we've seen a ton of these, but look at this range stat. And don't ignore the fact that this is the first 450 RPM energy auto rifle we've seen in a long time. I happen to get a range masterwork, I got quick draw, and I got tap the trigger, and honestly, that's like a go-to roll for this weapon for me. I really like the roll, it's got a really nice sight, which you'll see soon in the gameplay, and honestly, I found this weapon amazing to use.
Control.
So we got control, we got burnout, we got long sight lines, and normally if I'm not showing off an auto rifle, that would be a little bit spooky. However, seeing the range stat on this auto rifle, I go outside immediately. I want to see if I can box pulses. I want to see if I might be able to kill a sniper. I'm going to see what happens. And there's people on B. I'm going to lob a grenade. And, well, this clip right here says a lot about the weapon. First off, about this range stat. Oh my god, it melts. Obviously, being a 450, it can 8-tap, and that's really good, and it can 8-tap with a lot of ranges that most 450s can't because of its, well, its range. It's got a really nice sight. Look at this sight. Look how beautiful this sight is. Playing with it, it felt so good. To explain it, it's crispy. It has a unique shot sound, which we don't see all the time with new weapons, but it definitely has one. And it's one that's like tunk, tunk, tunk. Every single shot that you land, you feel. It feels so good. And having a high range stat lets it compete with a lot of the other auto rifles that people are currently using, such as Tiger Spite, such as Horror Story. It really does have a leg up on them. The Breakneck is the one that came out as well, and I would compare its stability to the stability of Breakneck, where the stat isn't that high, but it is so stable. So, honestly, I would say that it competes with it in that way. Depending on the role you get, it's totally fine for you to use it, and it doesn't take up a kinetic slot. For those who want to use a sniper, Dust Rock Blues, they want to use Ace of Spades, any of those, they can go right ahead and use them, because we have a really good energy 450 that is such a threat using this thing. Like, I just felt so strong at all ranges. Like, at close range, it's an auto rifle, it's not the worst. At mid-range, it really excels. And at long range, I didn't feel weak. I didn't feel like I had the damage drop-off that I have with some of my favorites. Those favorites being weapons like Tiger Spite, being Horror Story, and honestly, a little bit of Breakneck. Obviously, with the Rampage stacks and whatnot, it's not the big of a deal with Breakneck. Anyways, this weapon from the get-go is able to just outbox a ton of weapons, pulse rifles. Occasionally, if you get the flinches, you'll beat a sniper, or if the sniper's just bad. And I was really, really excited. And I know you guys are probably wondering, oh man, you got lucky with your RNG, how'd you get this weapon? Well, you don't get this weapon from random drop like you do a lot of weapons in DLCs. The way you get this is, first off, you're going to go to the new NPC, Ada, and she's going to be all like, hey, do some quest steps for me, and that's going to result in you getting a legendary machine gun. Spoiler, the Hammerhead, right? And it's a pretty good weapon, but then after you get it, you can do some of her dailies, her weeklies, and I believe it is her weeklies that will give you an item that allows you to pick up a schematic for either another machine gun or an auto rifle. And seeing an auto rifle schematic, I picked this bad boy up instantly. I farmed it out as quickly as possible, and well, I got one mean auto rifle that I don't regret whatsoever. It was absolutely worth my time, and the reason I'm playing and I'm grinding this game so much is because my group is going to be going for a world's first raid attempt on Twitch on Friday when the raid drops. We're obviously not expecting to come first, but we are expecting to see how quickly we can finish it, and if we can get in the first day, that'd be really cool. We did the same thing in the past, but anyways, if you want to check that out, feel free. Links in my description. I just Ghost here, Dave. You can find me on Twitch without the link. Anyways, back to the weapon. So, talking about auto rifles, 450s, we see them a lot these days, but we don't see energy that often. We know they 8-tap, so they're not, like, bad by any means. They're definitely outclassed in some ranges by a lot of weapons, but I would say that if you're looking for an auto rifle that you want to use, I would say that this is probably one of the go-tos. If I had to legitimately tell some people auto rifles I think they should be using in Crucible and whatnot, I would say Breakneck, I would say Horror Story, and now I will absolutely be saying the ringing nail, because this thing lived up to so many expectations, honestly. Like, this is a map where it is either close range, or it is either long range, where you should be losing boxing matches, and it was just able to put up with the best of them, honestly. Obviously, its strength is, as a 450, is being able to 8-tap if you're landing those headshots, and the range on top of it means you can actually 8-tap from quite a good distance. It being an auto rifle has a decent amount of flinch to it, about the same, I would say, as a pulse rifle, just not as bursty. And right here, I'm gonna let the super kill me, because I'm gonna try and team shot him, and we're actually able to knock him out, so that's pretty cool. Anyways, that was kind of just a thing to show that, like, while this weapon is really strong, it is not going to be killing the Night Stalkers that are coming after you, the Spectral Blades, any of that. It's not going to be shutting down supers left and right, but it will be winning you a lot of boxing matches, unless it happens to be 1,000 voices. I would say this weapon has a pretty strong voice, but the thing is it has one voice. It does not have nearly 1,000. The only way a weapon like this wins against a weapon like that is if your opponent severely misplays or just misses all of their shots. But as you can see here, it's absolutely melting. From that range, it's still hitting 25s, meaning it's going to kill like 10 Resilience Guardian at that range. But we end up getting picked off by one burst of the Einstein D right there. There's nothing we could do about it. We were too low to be able to take down as a boxing match unless, you know, they miss all their shots. And you shouldn't be relying on an opponent to miss their shots. Anyways, I know this dude's going to charge. You're going to hit him with some knives and able to quickly melt them down. And I know I should have mentioned this earlier, but like you guys are probably like, oh, you're playing a different character, and it's still Bumblebee. So feel free to dislike the video for that. I know a lot of you love doing it. I think it's a pretty good meme, and I don't really mind that much, you know. At least I know at that point you've watched this video this far, and that's cool with me. Anyways, I didn't show it off, but it's in the thumbnail. This weapon's default shader is black and red, and it is so clean because it's a metallic red. It is a beautiful gun, and this sight I can't get over. It looks like Tiger Spite's sight, but like so much more high tech. The spikes on it really sell the show. I just think it's beautiful. I think it's a beautiful gun. I actually had a clan member try and say like, oh dude, it looks like a reskinned origin story, and I'm like, maybe the magazine size, but I think you're on something if you're saying that seriously. Like I don't see what you're talking about, man. And they're gonna take A, and this game's been going back and forth, so I'm gonna super it. Able to get 2 here, almost get 3, and I probably could have taken that boxing match, and I chose not to. I'm gonna play it slow. I'm gonna get the burn off, and I'm gonna scare them off. Because the time that they're burning is time they're not healing, which was why this subclass is so good. And the reason I picked this subclass over Golden Gun, which is what I run on my Hunter most of the time, is because I wanted a panic super that I would simply use to secure kills. I didn't want to be showing off just getting kills with the super over and over again. I'd rather panic, secure a kill, and go back to showcasing the weapon. And I think this weapon does it really good, along with having a really nice neutral game to go with it. So yes, I'm using Blade Barrage. It's something I hate dying to, but killing people too, somehow I'm fine with it. But killing people with this weapon, that's something I'm really fine with. I'm purposely going to play the distance here, because if they peek me, I know I can do really well at this range, because I don't really experience that much fall off. It's like a point or two, and it doesn't matter against any Resilience or Guardians at this range still. It's seriously a monster. Like, compare this to a weapon like Age-Old Bond, where Age-Old Bond is really good at range, but it's stuck with that simple sight and whatnot, and stuck with some good perks, not the best perks in the whole world. It doesn't get tap the trigger or anything like that, but I would say because this weapon has some really good rolls that others don't have, it is a 450 energy weapon, and it has such a high default range stat. Like, it's not like I have one thing specifically that makes this better at range. Its inherent range stat is really good. So I would recommend going for this weapon, right? I can only assume the machine gun schematic is going to be another hammerhead with a different roll. So you could do that if you like machine guns. Like, that's completely fine. But if you like auto rifles, I think passing this one up is something you really can't do. It's too good for what it is. I don't know what all of its rolls are, but with most weapons you assume it's going to have a bad roll. And also, we're going to talk about this. I didn't know it was 149 to 149. If I would have stayed and boxed, I could have killed him, and we could have won. But believe it or not, even with that dude so low, we ended up losing that game that we almost brought back. It was a close game through and through. We're going to strut to end the game. Get this weapon. Put your time into getting this weapon. It drops powerful. It's a great weapon. If that's not reason enough, I can't sell you on it then. It's a great weapon. I love it. I'm going to be using it a ton. And it gets a 4.0. The first game I played, I got a 4.0 as well. However, it ended with a bunch of people disconnecting, so I'm not going to upload that. But, like, back-to-back 4.0s with this weapon, I think is enough to convince you to grind the fucking gun. So, if you liked the video, feel free to subscribe, feel free to like it, feel free to comment, share it with your friends, do whatever you want. Check out my other social media. Obviously, I mentioned I'll be raiding on Twitch. And thank you so much for all the support, even the dislikes because of Bumblebee. Those make me laugh. I think they're a fun time. I don't recommend just disliking it, but, I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world. It's not the end of the world. It's not going to ruin my life. Anyways, if you're still here, go do something. What you doing here, man? Go have some fun. Stop ghosting.